Hi everybody, Zach Mitchell here. What are your top 10 favorite bands of all time? I'm going to give you mine right now. Please let me know what yours are in the comments section below and give me a thumbs up for this video because it really supports what I'm doing here. So, giving you my top 10 favorite rock and roll bands of all time. And I made this list judging by bands that have the most amount of songs that are my favorites. And also judging by which bands I started to love first when I first started listening to rock and roll, which was around age 14. Number 10, Blue Oyster Cult. Definitely, presence-wise on stage, amazing. Buck Dharma is one of the best guitar players of all time. So, Blue Oyster Cult, number 10. Number 9, Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac was a band that I grew up with. My mother was a huge Fleetwood Mac fan, and whenever we would go in the car and drive somewhere, like to school or something, or from home, or to home from school, we would be listening to Fleetwood Mac CDs that she had. So I grew up on it. And after seeing them live recently, it really, put a spotlight on the fact that they are one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. So, number 9, Fleetwood Mac. Number 8, The Eagles. A band that I've always been aware of since I first started listening to rock and roll, but had never really got into, hardcore fan-wise until about 2 years ago. And this was after I saw the documentary History of the Eagles that came out on TV, which, after I saw it, it gave me a lot more respect for it. And sorry, I'm tripping over my words here. I got a lot more respect for them. And after seeing the documentary, I bought all their albums. And then, the summer of that same year, I saw them live. And wonderful, wonderful band. So, number 8, The Eagles. Continuing on. Number 7, The Beach Boys. Maybe not a lot of people's favorite, but a definite favorite for me. I love their melodies, their voices, their I wish their guitar solos stood out a little bit more, but still they're damn good. And their album Pet Sounds is in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. So, number 7, The Beach Boys. Number 6, Pink Floyd. I never did see Pink Floyd live, but I did see Roger Waters, which to me is the heart of Pink Floyd. I saw him perform The Wall live in its entirety, which is one of my favorite all-time albums. And, again, going back, Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, Animals, Amagama, and Atom Heart Mother. All of those. Every album is a masterpiece. Not a huge fan of the Final Cut. And then everything after that I lost interest in, but almost everything are masterpieces. So, number 6, Pink Floyd. Getting into my top 5 now. Number 5 might be a lot of people's number 1, and I did see both living members of this band live. Not together, but separately. So I have seen them. Again, a band that I've always been aware of ever since I was 5. But and I love almost every single song by them. I know all the words to every song almost, but still, there's 4 other bands that I love more than them, but they're still damn good. The Beatles. A lot of you guys might disagree with me on that, but I love them. They're great. And obviously the White Album is, I believe the White Album is, it is in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. Had to think about that for a minute. And, Sgt. Pepper, Rubber Soul, they're all masterpieces. Revolver, so definitely in my top 5, the Beatles. Number 4, Led Zeppelin. A band that, again, I've always been aware of, but didn't start getting into until the last year recently. Jimmy Page is my all-time favorite guitar player. Robert Plant has one of the best voices that I've ever heard in my life. And John Bonham, of course, is a man on fire. And again, some of their albums, most of them actually, are in my top... they're in my favorite albums of all time. And Physical Graffiti and Led Zeppelin 2 are in my top 20 favorite albums of all time. So Led Zeppelin is number 4. Number 3, The Who. Amazing band. Definitely a band to see live, which I did see live performing the album Quadrophenia, which is the soundtrack to my life. And I will be seeing them again shortly this coming year on their 50 years in But Who's Counting tour, which is said to be their final tour. So you gotta see them. Get tickets to this show, because they are definitely a band to see live. Tommy is probably the very first rock and roll album that I ever heard, and it's not number 1, but I would have to put it at number 2 of my favorite albums of all time, because number 1 will always be Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf, but number 2 would be Tommy by The Who. So, number 3, The Who. Number 2. Now, for a while, this was my number 1 favorite band, because they were really the first rock and roll band that I got into. They were the band that made me start to love rock and roll, and it led me to where I am now. But I just recently changed my mind, so it's number 2, and it is The Doors. I got into them when I was 14. I first saw the movie The Doors, and I loved all of the music, so I had to go out and buy the real albums, which I did, all of them, and they're amazing. LA Woman is in my top 10 favorite albums of all time, and I love all their stuff, even some of the stuff off the Soft Parade, which not a lot of fans like, but I think it's amazing. So, and Jim Morrison is one of the best singers of all time. May he rest in peace. And finally, number 1, my favorite rock and roll band of all time. The Rolling Stones. I'm trying to think of words that I can use to describe the Rolling Stones. Satanic. Intriguing. What else? Outstanding. And very seductive, almost. Their music is... I love every single song by the Rolling Stones. Every single song. I have all of their albums. I've listened to them since I was about 14. And it brings tears to my eyes, almost. No. I can't say too much about them because it's already been said. The Rolling Stones are, and they will always be, my favorite band of all time. So, thank you very much for watching. That's been my top 10 favorite rock and roll bands. Remember to tell me what yours are in the comments, and especially... Until then, I'm Zach Mitchell. Thank you for watching.